In the deserts of the Arabian Peninsula lives one of the world's rarest and most eye-catching antelope. The Arabian Oryx is one of 7 animals known as Grazing Antelope, and one of 4 species in the genus Oryx, the members of which vary both by appearance and by distribution, which stretches across Africa and into the Middle East. The Arabian Oryx is the only antelope on the list to abide exclusively in desert habitats, and is found in small distributions across 5 countries centered around the Arabian Peninsula. Although their population is listed as stable, this species is currently classified as vulnerable, with 1,200 individuals existing in the wild as of 2016, most commonly in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, with an additional 6,000 to 7,000 also held in captivity. The Arabian Oryx is highly adapted to its desert environment. Its white coat helps it reflect sunlight, but also traps heat thanks to a thick undercoat which keeps them warm in the cold desert nights. They feed on a variety of tough desert plants and can go long periods of time without water, extracting moisture from various plant species. They are known for their ability to smell rain over long distances and will trek across the desert to find fresh grasses that sprout after rainfall. These antelopes are usually found in small groups of up to 10, but herds can number up to 100. A few decades ago, the Arabian Oryx existed only in captivity and was reintroduced into the wild in 1982, a conservation strategy that was applied much more recently to our next species. The Scimitar-horned oryx can be easily identified by the brown hair around its neck and chest, in addition to its curved horns, which are straight in the other 3 members of the oryx genus. The name scimitar refers to a sword that features a curved blade and is used in several areas including North Africa and the Middle East. This species is even more rare than the Arabian Oryx, found in only a single country, Chad in North Africa. Up until December 2023, the Scimitar-horned oryx was declared extinct in the wild, but after decades of conservation efforts, a wild population now exists and their conservation status has changed to endangered. Historically, the largest herds existed near its current distribution and were as large as 10,000 individuals in the 1930s. This species was then hunted to extinction in the wild by the 1980s and existed only in captivity. Individuals were reintroduced to the wild in August 2016, and the first wild calf was born the following month. As of September 2022, the number of wild scimitar-horned oryx is thought to number between 227 to 575 and is thankfully on the rise. The movement pattern of this species is classified as nomadic, a trait it shares with our next antelope, which is the most endangered of the group. The Addax is the only species on the list with a conservation status of critically endangered, and according to the IUCN is at serious risk of becoming extinct in the wild, with less than 100 individuals estimated to remain. It is thought to exist in small pockets in Chad, Niger and possibly Mauritania. However, studies carried out between 2015 and 2016 were only able to spot 3 individuals and the footprints of 25 adults. The Addax is particularly unique from other grazing antelope, being the only species to exhibit spiraled horns, making it easily identifiable from other species, despite having a similar coloration to the Arabian Oryx at certain times of year. The coat of the Addax changes from season to season, sporting a thin white coat in the hot North African summers and a thicker, darker coat in the winter months. This species is also by far the smallest of the grazing antelope, weighing between 130 to 275 pounds, which is well under half the weight of the heaviest species, the Roan antelope. Like the Arabian Oryx, this species is highly adapted to desert habitats and is said to be one of the most desert-adapted antelope on the African continent, while also being found in grassland habitats. The Addax is part of its own monotypic genus, and we must return to the Oryx genus to explore the final 2 members. The Besa or East African Oryx is thankfully the last species on our list with a less than favourable conservation status, although their population size is less concerning, with between 11 to 13,000 mature individuals as of February 2018. These antelope are found in a variety of habitats including shrubland, savanna and desert, and feed predominantly on grasses, leaves and fruits. Herd size varies from 4 to 60 members, and old males can also be solitary. The East African oryx was once considered to be the same species as the Gemsbok, both of which were classified as subspecies, but has now been declared a distinct species. Aside from being genetically distinct, the species can be distinguished most easily by the coloration of their hind legs. The black strip that runs along the base of the neck and onto the stomach of both species terminates before the hind legs on the East African oryx, but continues onto the hind legs of the Gemsbok. Although both of these species are found in 4 countries, their distribution is also distinct. The East African oryx is found in 3 countries in East Africa, whereas the Gemsbok is found in 4 countries in Southern Africa. The Gemsbok is the largest of the 4 oryx species, weighing up to 530 pounds in males and 440 pounds in females. This species is found in some of the most spectacular landscapes on Earth, including the Namib Desert with its large dark red sand dunes, and the flowery landscapes of South Africa, including Namakwa National Park, where these photos were taken. The breeding season for Gemsbok is not clearly defined, and breeding can take place throughout the year. The gestation period for all 4 oryx species is around 8.5 months, and females usually give birth to a single offspring. After birth, females hide their calves and return several times per day to feed them. Their light brown juvenile coat transforms into their adult coloration by around 4 months of age, at which point they are fully weaned and independent. In these animals, females stay with the herd, whereas males disperse once mature. Mortality rate for calves is particularly high due to predation from the classic African predators, such as lions, leopards, and wild dogs. However, those that successfully manage to navigate the savanna can live for up to 18 years. Having covered the 4 species of oryx and the monotypic Addax, we have 2 species left to explore, both of which are quite unique and found in the same genus. The Roan antelope is easily distinguished by its shorter curved horns and simple rufous coloration, with the exception of the head, which is more similar to the species previously discussed. Weighing up to 660 pounds, this species is not only the largest of the 7 grazing antelope, but is one of the largest antelope overall, surpassing the blue wildebeest by 50 pounds. These gentle giants can also clock speeds of up to 57 km an hour, which can be sustained over long distances. For the sake of comparison, this is slower than the lion, which can reach 80 km per hour over short distances. Both of the species found in this genus are considered savanna specialists, and are the only 2 species on this list not found in desert habitats. Herd size is usually between 6 to 15 individuals and takes the form of a harem made up of a dominant male along with several females and their young. The distribution of the roan antelope is the largest of all 7 species, found across much of the grasslands of sub-Saharan Africa, and overlaps with that of our final species, found between the countries of southern and East Africa. The sable antelope is another particularly unique species, featuring a large curve in the horns and the darkest coat of the grazers. This dark coloration is most pronounced in bulls, whose coat is black, and is where the species derives its name, sable, meaning of the colour black. The term grazing antelope comes from their strong preference for grasses and low-lying vegetation, in contrast to many other antelope which eat leaves and fruits from trees and bushes, and are classified as browsers. This difference in dietary preference allows for resource partitioning, enabling various herbivores to coexist within the same ecosystem by occupying distinct ecological niches. Unlike some of the other species we've discussed, mating season is defined in this species and occurs during the dry season from May to July. Gestation is also a little longer in both the roan and sable antelopes at around 9 months. Additionally, both the members of this genus have healthy populations of around 50 to 60,000 mature individuals and are both listed as least concern. These 7 grazers make up just a fraction of the 90-some total antelope species, which includes the wildebeest and hartebeest, all of which you can learn about in this video, exploring all 6 species of beast and the greatest migration on Earth. Thank you so much for watching.